Hi Soapies, welcome to this week's soap video. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm going to show you how I master batch my Lye solution. I like to work at room temperature, so I like my Lye solution as cool as possible. So master batching is a great way to do that, to control temps. So for my master batching, I do a 1-to-1 Lye solution, or a 50% Lye solution if that's how you like to look at it. That way I can adjust my liquid quantities a bit better for adding things such as milks or honey or fruit purees is a really great example. So today my Lye solution is a dual Lye, so I have 5% potassium hydroxide, and I get all of my Lye from Essential Depot. It's just super convenient for me to order from them, and I watch for sales. So you're still going to pay way more in shipping than you do for the Lye, but in the long run, it seems to be the best, most cost-effective way for me to order my Lye. And then 95% sodium hydroxide. So that's the Lyes that are going in. This is 1-to-1, so this is going to be equal amounts of the Lye to the water. And then I'm also going to be adding, because I have this sitting around and it needs to get used up. That's kind of been my mantra for finishing up 2021 and going into 2022, is just to use up stuff. So this is tussah silk. So I'm going to be trimming this. I don't know how to say what I'm going to be doing. You'll see, okay? You guys will see. I'll be giving this guy a haircut so that he dissolves nicely into our Lye solution. Anything that doesn't dissolve, I will strain out before I pour it into my containers. So I'm going to be mixing in my usual Lye pitcher. And then once it's cooled and settled down a bit, then I'm going to pour it into empty Lye containers. These containers work great for holding master batch because you can make small amounts. They have a nice cap that closes securely. And these containers are really great for just taking a Sharpie marker and making your notes right on them so you know exactly what's in them. So that's what we'll be doing today. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is my water pitcher. I'm going to start with my water, and I need 955 grams of water. So I have run this through a Lye calculator for my recipe. My recipe doesn't change from batch to batch. So that's one of the super convenient things about having a base recipe and master batching your Lye, is that it's always going to be the same and you don't have to really think about it anymore. So we need 955. That's perfect. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give my silk its haircut that it needs. When you use tussah silk, it comes in these long fibers. I believe I got this because it's been so long since I ordered it and used it last. I believe I got mine from Micah's and More. So you'll just want to trim that into as small of bits as possible. Now we're going to do our 95% sodium hydroxide. So make sure I grab the sodium hydroxide. I have a little bit in one bottle that I'm going to empty out. And you do want to make sure that you are wearing proper protection when you are handling your Lye. So I have, these are a little bit heavy dutier gloves than the normal blue ones you see me wear. These are the chemical resistant gloves. I believe the brand is Venom. I don't like these as much because there's so much space. They work great for mixing Lye, but not so great when you're handling soap batter, and trying to do designs and stuff. So now we're going to go ahead and add the second bottle of Lye. And for this we need 902 grams. So we're going to weigh that out. I'm going to go ahead and I'll put this back up here so you guys can see it. And we're going to go ahead and decant this into our water. And when you're doing large amounts like this, it's always good to stop and pour in small bits, give it a quick stir, and then continue adding. And you'll want to watch out because at this point it's going to start fuming, it's going to start heating up, it's going to get up to about 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Of course, when you're doing this, sorry I didn't talk during that because it does create fumes, which can make breathing hard, so I didn't want to talk while I was doing that. You'll want to make sure that your space is properly ventilated when you're doing this, and that you're not breathing in those fumes because they can be quite dangerous. So now for our KOH, we're going to add 53 grams. All right. So everything looks and feels like it is properly dissolved, and this sucker is really hot. I'm going to do one last thing. Whoops, I turned it off. I'm going to take the total weight of my container, and then when I decant it, I'm going to weigh it one more time because this gets hot, water will evaporate as it heats up, so I want to make sure that I add in any water that's been lost before I decant it into the empty lye containers. So this is 2145, so that's the total weight of the whole container, so I'll check it again before it decants. I'm going to let this sit for a couple hours and cool off. I'll throw just a rag over there over the top of it to help slow down the rate of evaporation. So it has been a couple hours since I made this, and this is still a bit warmer than I would like, but I have stuff I have to do, so I need to get my space cleared off. So I made 2 batches. I made a second batch off camera. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to, whoops, maybe turn this on first of all, because remember I weighed those, which for you guys was a couple seconds ago. For me, it's been a couple hours. So I am going to go ahead and weigh this. Okay, so it is 2135 grams. The original weight was 2145 grams. So I need to add 10 grams of water to this. And I'm going to do that super carefully because remember there's lye in here. So I don't want this to splash on me. So just very, very carefully. There we go. We're back up to the weight we're supposed to be. Perfect. I'm going to give this just a quick stir. And as long as I have the scale out, I'm going to check the second one as well. Okay, and that one's 2131. This one lost a little bit more weight. It needs to be 2142. There we go. Okay, and you can see little bits of the undissolved tussah silk sitting on top. So you can see that that has actually dissolved really, really well if those just that little bits are left. We are going to strain this before we get started, and you'll see here See this guy here? I don't know how well the camera picks this up, but he's already starting to develop sodium carbonate. And that is just the reaction of the lye to the oxygen in the air. Okay, so to measure this properly, I am going to use a funnel, and I'm also going to use my filter. That's one of the reasons I like this funnel better, is because it's a little bit wider, so it will hold my filter a little bit better. You could also try this with a, what is it called? A coffee filter. There we go. And I have to switch bottles here. Just because I did already go ahead and I marked 2 of the containers. I'm probably going to have to use a 3rd, so I do have my Sharpie marker here for marking the next bottle. But let's get this guy started here. And we will start pouring, and because my batch is larger than my bottle, I have to kind of pay attention to how much I'm pouring and where I'm pouring it. This is not something you want to do distracted. So this second pitcher was made exactly the same. If I had made it slightly different, like with a different amount of lye for a different recipe, or without the potassium, that was the word I was looking for, potassium hydroxide, I would not pour it into the same container. But because these are exactly the same, they can just continue to get poured into one container. And we're just going to pour slowly and carefully so that no accidents happen. And then if you wanted to date your bottles, you can. I tend not to, just because the date really doesn't matter. The lye solution isn't going to go bad sitting there, so it's really unnecessary to date it unless you're being hyper vigilant in your record keeping and usage and stuff like that. Then go ahead and do it how you want it. So there you guys go. That's how I do my master batching. And now when I use these, probably the next video, I will go through how I do my lye solution using the master batch. So stay tuned for that. Thanks guys, stay soapy.